Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing MotoGP 23 and we're continuing on with our MotoGP 23 career mode. The plan of today is as thus. We're going to practice the two bikes that we have. We have two specs of motorcycle here in the Jerez test. One, as you can see on the right hand side of the screen, that is currently Spec A, very much what we've been using already this season, and Spec B is a revised bike which we'll take a look at after doing 4 or 5 laps. Let me get the feeling, let me get the same confidence we had when we were battling for the victory in Jerez a couple of days ago. In the meantime, I have been using different motorcycles, different weather conditions, and even tried Ride 5 as well. So I just want to get back to how I was feeling in Jerez, get back to the same rhythm, the same groove, and then I can really compare the difference. One thing we shall see in real MotoGP and probably any motorsport discipline is the fact that the rider will jump on their current bike, get the feeling again, get all the feedback, get all the sensations back again, and then start moving across and looking at what is different and what can be improved. So I'm rather excited for today's test because I actually already know what Spec B is. I have actually taken a quick look, but I won't discuss it yet until we'll get to Spec B, because for now we're just focused on Spec A. I'm also looking something a little bit different here. I am not remotely interested in the lap times in the sense of where I am in the standings. The live standings on the left hand side of your screen, doesn't matter if I'm from 20th or 1st. I just need the competition again and the competitiveness to know that I can fight when it comes to race situation, because as I've been doing these career mode videos for quite a few seasons, what happens in practice isn't indicative to what is going to happen in the race. There's a lot of situations where I have been miles behind in the free practice, miles behind in the second free practice, but then got into the qualifying and qualified on the 3rd row. And then in the race you've won. So I don't really take too much consideration what is happening with the live timings in the standings right now for this timing session for the practice. So the goal is focus on my consistency, the feeling, the sensations, and let's see if we can produce some relatively consistent pace and ultimately find even more feeling with Spec B. If it doesn't happen and we stay on Spec A, that's not a problem. Just that we know where we need to look at. My objectives will soon be to defeat Jack Miller in our battle of supremacy for the Red Bull KTM team, which I imagine won't be too long. I imagine after this session we'll probably get that prompt to try and fight Jack Miller for team leader role here in the Austrian manufacturing team. So around the outside of Frankie Morbidelli, I knew he was going to go quite slow there, but we will have to bear in mind that he might hit me very much similar to what Bastianini did in the race a few days ago. Now of course I may have spoiled the results already for that Jerez GP, but in case I haven't and you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend, in fact no, I implore you to go and watch that video now. I'll be still here, I'll be waiting for you guys to come back and then we can talk about the testing, but do not miss that Grand Prix. It was absolutely fantastic, from the sprint to the race, filled with drama, excitement and battles that quite possibly I haven't had in MotoGP 23 career mode before. I've had similarities, but not quite as intense, as exciting as it was in that race. So with that in mind, I have Alex Rins ahead of me, so I'm going to try and I don't think I can get through here. I was hoping to get through on the LCR Castrol Honda rider, but it's not happened yet. Beautiful lean angle there from Alex Rins, of course, on board the Yamaha this year. In fact, he's using the Spec B version of his Castrol Honda. Hopefully he's got some more upgrades. Certainly needs some. Johan Zarco, fastest man in the session so far. Enea Bastianini then followed by Aleix Espargaro. Rins picking me up mid-corner. Myself in 4th with Marquez, Rins, Marquez and Frankie Morbidelli. So up on the inside of Alex Rins, Vinales went quite deep there. We've seen that a lot in the race a few days ago. Riders just towards the latter stage of the race were beginning to struggle with grip. And as they were losing that grip, they were struggling to stop with a very late, hard braking zone of the 6th corner here in Jerez, known as Dani Pedrosa corner. Now, something else I wanted to mention for... Oh, Vinales, where is he going? Somebody get him the memo. The idea is you stay within the lines, not beyond it. Never mind, Maverick. It's only testing. The winter test champion, of course, Maverick Vinales. Multiple crowns if there was one. But yeah, getting back to the point of today's testing, I'm actually going to focus on doing medium front and rear. I don't really want to use the soft here because I'm only going to get a lap or two, and I don't want a lap or two. I want to get good 5 or 6 laps, 4, 5, 6 laps, whatever it may be. I'd be happy to do in a row and keep that succession going. But to bear in mind as well, I am using the medium front and the medium rear, which, to be honest, I've begun to dislike. I didn't like the medium combination in the practice when I was using it in this here in Jerez for the race. Tried it again the other day in Mugello, and it didn't particularly give me much sensation, and my worst lap times came with the middle compound tyre, which is the medium. So I'm not thrilled for the medium, so what I'm going to do this lap and maybe another, and then we'll look at swapping over to the hard front and hard rear, or maybe we'll find a compromise where we'll use hard front and a different soft rear, a different rear, possibly the soft. So out of the left-hand side for the corner, formerly known as DrAce, we go into turn 7 now. Down by 0.3 of a second, Jerez has now moved himself up to 4th place. I kind of hope for their sake that the Gresini Ducati do get some upgrades. But as it stands, Alex Marquez well below the average on the team's comparison. Going into this session, the KTM was 3rd on the team's comparison. Doing pretty well actually now with the team's championship and the constructors championship, thankfully, after the result of Jerez for both myself and Jack. Down by 0.2 of a second into Lorenzo corner. So another 1:36 lap time, which is not particularly impressive, but we are staying on power setting 2. We'll save the power setting 3s for later. But as it stands on lap 4, power setting 2, medium front, medium rear, not bad. I may consider dropping the anti-wheelie down to 3. I don't think it's necessary to have it on 4. Possibly when we change over to power setting 3 for the latter stages of this this official test, maybe then I will consider leaving it anti-wheelie 4. But as it stands, 0.7 of a second behind Zarco. As I mentioned, we're not going to be stressing too much about that, but as long as we're within a decent spot. I may have said earlier that it didn't even matter if we were first or last, but even if it's in a test, you don't want to be last. So I guess I should be honest when I say that. I guess that's a heat of the moment thing to say. Beautiful entry into the 6th corner. Didn't downshift to first gear there, of course. A bit of a woe in my riding style. Eager to downshift to the lower gear. Not always necessary, but it certainly happens a bit when I'm playing this fantastic motorcycle game. Onto the right-hander now for turn 9. This is the Nieto corner. A bit deep there. We probably will lose a bit of time. Off the circuit as well. Not enough to invalidate the lap. But on the right-hander here, doesn't look like we'll improve. But this will conclude Spec A. So remember what Spec A looks like. You've seen the graphic a moment ago. And then together we'll take a look at Spec B in just, what, couple of seconds time after I've edited the clip in a moment's time. So let's get across the line. Let's conclude lap number 5 across the line. It is it's the same lap time as earlier. Not bad. So then, boys and girls, Spec B. What has Red Bull KTM brought for me? Rhyming accidentally. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, Spec B. Can you imagine last season fighting for every single possible position with the satellite KTM, the satellite RC16 in the form of the Tech 3 colours, the gas, having engine power 8? I know what you're thinking. Of course you can't. Neither can I. How good will engine power 8 be? This is what I need to know. Everything is remaining the same. We've kept the exact same spec, the exact same setup. Except this, excuse me, I'm completely messing up. We're keeping the same bike, we're keeping the same bike setup, we're keeping the same compound for tyres, same electronics, just change the spec. So we're no longer on Spec A, we're on Spec B, but everything else remains to be the same way. So what is going to change? Immediately, I'll be honest, regardless of this being Spec B or not, regardless of engine power 8 and a controlled fuel delivery increase, it doesn't feel any faster. But it also doesn't feel any slower. I'm surprised. I am a bit gobsmacked here. It's not a circuit which really depends on straight line speed. Of course, you do have the run down to the 6th corner, which will make a difference, and even across the line as well is going to make a difference, but it's not that obvious. It's not a real slap in the face to say, wake up, it's Spec B, answer my call. It's more I'm a little bit faster. Within the first lap, we're within 33,000th of a second. It's not much to really gauge on one lap time, of course, but I can't tell, it doesn't feel particularly any different. I mean, of course, I'm actually just downplaying the fact, I mean, you can see it, you've probably already thought about it yourselves, but I'm kind of downplaying handling 9. A motorcycle that handles with level 9, I mean, it's hard to see the difference, it really is. I'm just not feeling that much different. I think there's probably a few subtleties where maybe harden the brakes, maybe I can really get, I don't know, maybe the rear tyre sliding out, maybe I can control it a little bit better. If there's a corner I do struggle with here in Jerez, which coincidentally is probably one of the most important corners, is the Lorenzo corner, the final corner here in Jerez. So I'm going to gauge a lot of the handling for that one there. It does feel a little bit quicker, but to be honest with you, if you didn't tell me what each spec was, I don't know if I could guess what it was. It's nothing significant. Engine power 8 to engine power 6 is still relatively close. I don't know. I'm a little bit unsure, but it does seem evident that on this lap time we are getting quicker. So that's subtlety, as we have an Bastianini ahead of us. Interested to see how this one goes down. This rival with the Italian is soon growing, especially during the latter stages of the race this weekend in Jerez. Zarco, Bastianini, Espargaro, Digia and myself in 5th place. Still yet to see my teammate. Does feel good, but I've only gained, what, a 10th of a second? It's hard to say. I really can't say this feels significantly different. This is a tough one, ladies and gentlemen. This is a tough one. The comparison with Spec A, of course, one thing I am looking at is that tyre wear. Both bikes with tyre wear as a medium. I'm happy with that. Fuel consumption is high, but to be honest with you, I've kind of got used to that now. We do have to struggle with the tyre wear. That's something we've struggled with since the gas. In fact, we've even struggled with that in Moto 2. So that's nothing new to me. I can fight with that. That's fine. But compared to Spec A, apart from having the aerodynamic penetration higher, apart from having the aerodynamic load higher, I don't see much potential in staying with Spec A, because we're going to go to circuits now, which... Oh, Bastianini's off the circuit. Yeah, you must remember that from the video a few days ago then, yeah? I certainly do. But yeah, getting back as I digress for a second, with tracks coming up like Le Mans, that has a long straight, Mugello, which has probably the largest straight in MotoGP, we are going to need that extra power for those straights. And if the option is there to take a bike that is more powerful against machines like the Desmos Adichie GP23s, I think we take this option. I'm not convinced yet, but another lap time and another improvement, there is a certain feeling to this where I feel I can be a little bit more confident. And you know what? That's sometimes all that you need. I understand why players jump into setups. I totally do, because if you can find a feeling that goes, that's comfortable, that's really comfortable, and you put lap times in that are good, and they're improvements, just because you felt comfortable, then you have to really double down on something like that. For me, I've always just stuck with, oh, I've got a bit deep there, goodness me. We were up by 0.4 of a second then. Oh well, I think I'll do an extra lap actually, just to make sure I still get my 5 laps in. But yeah, this is a real eye-opener test, this one. And considering we're still there in the top 5, it's grounds for celebration. A 36.1, just 0.6 of a second behind Johan Zarco. I don't remember what lap time I was putting in with the gas, but I hazard a guess. Probably we're not that far off these times, to be honest. It's not really a circuit that you need all that additional power for, you know what I'm saying? There's a couple of circuits where you'd say the power is great. Oh, I just invalidated the lap time there. Also, Jerez is one of those circuits you don't really need to panic about having power setting 3. In the race, we were half a second slower, maybe, but it wasn't dramatically slower. Oh, a good feeling going into the Lorenzo corner there. Not often I can get sliding on the rear like that. That really was looking a bit like Brad Binder. That felt tremendously satisfying, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to try that again on the next one. If we can do that again, and I can do that consistently, I think I can find some serious pace here. So onto the right hand side for the Michelin corner. We're losing a lot of time here. Oh, not quite. It's just a bit misleading, that one. But out of the left hand side, last year we were begging for updates, weren't we? Begging for upgrades. Things are a little bit different to this year, of course. But maybe I wasn't. You know what? Maybe, actually, I think I'm wrong. I think in the gas I was doing 137s and maybe 138s. I'd have to take a look. I'm not actually sure. And you know what? I probably should have thought of that before making this video here today. I can fire it up in a second, I guess. I'll have a look and I can get back to you. But so far, so good, ladies and gentlemen. I'm feeling pretty pleased with myself here. And I'm feeling quite confident that Spec B could be the one that we go for. And simply enough, just because of that power. I don't think there's much of a difference for the rest of it to really warrant staying with Spec A. I do feel stronger though. It felt really nice into that right-hander there. Now into Pelliqui. I have an unorthodox line for that corner, unfortunately, so it's hard to really gauge, but I can go a little bit harder on the front brake, and the medium tyre, it's not warming up too rapidly. Let's try this again though, on the brakes, get it sliding a little bit. That does feel confident. Yeah, that's really confident inducing. I think I found my spec. Do I give it another lap? Okay, let's give it a little cheeky lap. I know it makes things invalid, but maybe I'll just do 4 laps with the next bike in a moment. But a 136.2, that means every single lap time with Spec B has been within 1/10. Oh, best lap time of a 136.102, that should have invalidated. We're still right there with it. Oh, this should be a good lap here. Losing 2.5 tenths of a second into Ceto Ponds. If we get this corner right here, and then go into the Pedrosa corner still with a decent personal best, we could end this session quite high up. 4 tenths of a second we're losing, but we do gain a lot back because the AIs tend to muck it up towards the latter stage of the sector. Around Ferrari, around Crivier corners, that's where they begin to struggle. Oh, a little bit wide there, that is going to lose us time. Of course, those dreaded excuse me, those dreaded curves in MotoGP just almost caught my throat, caught my tongue there for a second. And into the right-hander for the Nieto corner, that is incredibly tight to the apex for turn 9. And again, dicing with death into Pelliqui. These are the moments. Alex Crivier corner is here. Ferrari is the next. Oh, we're off the circuit. Yeah, that's invalidate. What? Still not? Okay, I'll take that. Let's go late on the brakes, though. Hard and get that rear tyre spinning. Didn't quite work that time. Oh, well. I like the concept, though. It was definitely fun to get that rear tyre going. And coincidentally, this is going to be my worst lap time, yeah? Across the line, it is a 136.3. Damn, I shouldn't have done it. Alright then, boys and girls. Back across now to Spec A. We did 5 laps earlier, a little bit all over the place to be fair, but that was our first package and that's how we were getting back into the thing. So this time, I'm running a sprint sort of style time trial. So hard front, soft rear, power setting 3, anti-wheelie down to 3. Let's go for it. Already in the first split, lost 2.5 tenths to Johan Zarco. Now there has been a few riders to move themselves into my position, so I'm now down to 7th place rather than being in the top 5. So onto the power and then onto the brakes, braking right where that little white line is it. That's my guide and go-to for braking for Pedrosa corner. Good exit there as well, pulling and getting a bit of speed, getting a bit of time back. We get onto the power again, just under 2 tenths of a second we're going to be gaining on this one. Spec A is putting its bid in for the DrAce videos for the rest of the season. Well, at least until Silverstone. But can we do better with Spec B? I'm excited to find out. Half a second is the difference compared to Zarco's time. Onto the right-hander for Crivier. Don't run it too wide, don't run it too deep. Bring it back into the apex. Steady. And then brake just after the shadow here. Not quite as comfortable with Spec A, to be honest with you. I noticed going into that corner there, I just couldn't quite get the rear tyre kicking out like I wanted to. Across the line, it is an improvement, but we are still yet to get into that 135s. It's just eluding us. And if you know me, you'll know I don't like to be that close to the next increment of second without actually getting into it. So, for my own pride, I'm going to have to get a hurry on and get into the 135s. So with lap 12 being the best on Spec A, and then I don't remember what lap it was with Spec B, I think it was quite early on that we had the 136.102. It's very close though, each and every lap time has been so close. The most we've differed by is 0.7 of a second, and that is lap 3. This has been a great test so far, and I feel I could go for another 120% AI difficulty race again here in Jerez. Immediately. With this bike, with this team, with the same parameters, I think we could do it. I really would like to know how the AI is going to be in Le Mans. Last season, 3rd place in the sprint. In the race, I think it was 8th. No, I think in the race, it was wet and I ended up crashing out, or it was just a disaster. That's what I remember from Le Mans last season. So let's hope it stays dry, and let's hope I can be competitive. If I can, I could probably bring the championship lead down to maybe like 30 points. And that is huge. That would be absolutely monumental for our championship charge this season. Across the line, it's going to be another good lap time, the 136.069. The consistency's working out here in Jerez. If only Jerez would start the testing rather than Portimao, I think we get a better look and a good understanding of the bike rather than just fighting Portimao. Well, as much as I love Portimao, I don't think it's a great circuit for testing. On the left-hand side, not quite improving, but we're not quite dropping off the pace either. Nice tight apex for Ceto Pons. That seemed to have worked really well. Could be a bit misleading as we get onto the power because we dropped back down to just a small positive delta. Less than 0.4 of a second is the split into Sector 2. This is the last couple of laps now with Spec number A, letter A should I say. Can't get that right apparently, but into the left-hander for the Jorge Martinez Aspar corner. A corner that we can navigate correctly. Will put us very close to improving, but still not quite there. There's still a grey box in the right-hand corner of your screen for the Delta. If we can get the Lorenzo corner right, we might have a chance of improving. Would really like to get into the 135s by now. Oh, that's really tight to the apex. Let's go for that tight braking zone again. Get the rear sliding a little bit. Can't seem to do it with Spec A. I think Spec B might have sealed it. Just feel way more confident with the second option of the two, but across the line it is again a very close lap time, a 136.101. So each lap with the Spec A package with power steering 3, anti-wheelie down to 3, we're within, what, 50,000 of a second, 70,000 of a second each time? That's some solid consistency, but wow, I thought that was it for sure. I thought we were going to crash then. It felt really uncomfortable then as I went bounding across the left-hand side for turn 4. Bit deep into Ceto Pons, but I'm sure we'll regain all that speed back now that we have a bit of additional... In fact, no, we don't have additional power. This is Spec A, of course. Spec B's the bike with the power. Into Pedrosa corner then. For the final time of today's video before we decide on which package we're going to use. In fact, it's not the final lap, it's the final lap with Spec A. I want Spec B to get 5 more laps in a moment. Oh, this is looking promising. We're up on the Delta. I just want to reiterate though, it doesn't matter which one I get the fastest lap time with, it's the ones I feel more comfortable with. Spec A I feel very much comfortable with, but I think Spec B just offers a small amount more. Just additional power without really compromising any feeling. It's pretty much what every motorcycle rider looks for, and even me sitting at home playing this game right now, I'm looking for something similar as well. Onto the brakes, diving into Lorenzo corner for the last time with Spec A. onto the power. This will be an improvement across the line. This should put us well up there at the front, by the way, but across the line, 135.634. So the beautiful 135 finally came to our doors here today. It was 135.634 on the previous lap, and the last lap with Spec A in today's video. Can we do better with Spec B? I don't think there was any glaring weaknesses or problems on that previous lap, so it's not like as long as I keep a decent lap and then go a bit faster in one corner, we should have it. I think very much we're on the limit now, and I think very much at this point we could either get an improvement or very much stay the same. I can't see myself losing time, and I can't see myself just falling off a cliff. Haven't crashed yet in this session, which could be the famous last words, but I feel tremendously confident with this KTM in Jerez. One of the best circuits in the world, guaranteed the best Spanish circuit ever. Jerez is fantastic. I love riding here, love playing it in the game. It's just so super. And I think we might improve already in Spec B. Now I've actually increased the power, I do feel a bit of the power now. Could be a little bit misleading, but since I've just done Power Sliding 3 with the previous bike, in Power Sliding 3 this bike does feel a little bit nippier. A little bit quicker coming out the corners, a little bit quicker on the straights. Down by a tenth. Can we get that slide going in again? Oh, we can. It feels fantastic. Is that what Handling 9 can do for me? Is that what Handling 9 can do for you? I think that's key. I think that is key. And if that's the way it's going to work from now on, then I'm chuffed. Spec B could very well be the package for me. Ramming accidentally. I'm a poet, I didn't even know it. Oh, this is marvellous. Yeah, I think we'll do better than that. You know what? Yeah, why not? I'm going to say it. I'm going for first place. I'm going for it. I want to end this test as the best test rider Jerez. That would be brilliant. That would be absolutely fabulous. We would need 2 tenths. Bang on. In fact, no, we actually did a lap time early. We'd need 2 tenths on this package, basically. But we only need a tenth and a bit if we're using Spec A. But we are up. And we have a tenth and a bit. Lost a little bit of time there. Once again, going too deep onto the curb there for turn 7, corresponding into turn 8. We lost a bit of time. But the delta still showing very close. I mean, the delta might be grey. It might mean that we're not improving, but it certainly means we're doing well. This has been an excellent test, ladies and gentlemen. I certainly hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, let me know in the comments section down below. I'd really love to hear your feedback from today's test. I do worry that maybe the test videos aren't that entertaining, but I do very much appreciate that there's a lot of people interested in our career mode series, and that makes me incredibly humble as just a little bit too eager on the power. Just calm it down, would you, lad? That's because I downshifted to first gear. I made a very silly mistake there. My apologies. And to all those who are going, see, I told you, doing the Leonardo DiCaprio meme when he points at the screen. You know that. You know which one I'm talking about. He's like, hey, that one. That's the bit. He downshifted to first again. Of course he did. He's got a habit of a lifetime. But no, seriously, guys, I appreciate all the support and how much you're enjoying the video recently. I've equally had as much fun as you guys making the content as well. That Jerez video had me just absolutely loving life. I felt fantastic. I felt £1,000,000 after that one. Not only the victory, but the fact that the content was fun, inspiring, and engaging. It was awesome. Very much enjoyed that. And you know what? I think this is the lap time. Oh, is that misleading? It is a little bit. We had 4 tenths of a second in the delta in our back pocket then. It's just disappearing ever so slightly. No, I think this is the lap. Could we end today's test as the fastest rider in Jerez? It could happen. It very well might. 3 tenths of a second we are down in this right-hander. It just shows you how much time the AI lose from Crivier to Ferrari and then into the Lorenzo corner. And in fact, speaking of, we've also lost time, but we might be able to get it back here. Sliding that rear tyre in, it does feel immensely satisfying, that. And onto the power. I don't know what happened on that lap, but looked like we had it. Okay, maybe not going all as planned here, but it's again another 1:35.9. I'm a little bit torn, you know. It does feel a bit like I'm going faster because this is my, what, 8th lap in Power Setting 3, rather than Spec B is carrying me, if that makes sense. Might stay and do another lap, I don't know. No, to be honest with you, it's not... Neither package is that much more different. The benefit is with Spec B, we do get more power. Handling is a little bit higher, but the aerodynamic loads and stuff is not quite as good. I would like to get more controlled fuel delivery, and that's what Spec B does bring. Not by much, just by 1. But it's certainly something to think about. And of course Spec A also brought in the controlled fuel delivery, but by 1 as well. So, yeah. Difficult to say, ladies and gentlemen, really difficult. But as far as I'm concerned, I think I better go for Spec B. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys would choose. That is what I'm very curious to know. But at this point, I would have already decided. I think I might just go for Spec B just to have that bit of extra power for Mugello. Very tight to the apex there for Crivier corner. Caught onto the curb again and once onto the curb there, but try and avoid this one. Didn't manage it. Late on the anchors. Get that rear tyre sliding. I will become Brad Binder eventually. Oh, and this is it. This is the lap, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to cross the line to take top spot with a what lap time? 1:35.402. Everyone's in the pit. Only just noticed that. Did everyone go in the pit at the same time? Must be a dinner break. Tea break for the lads and lasses of MotoGP. And I think that'll conclude the session for me. We can get one more lap in. Let's get one more in. We have the entire circuit to ourselves. I'm basically pulling rank here. I'm pulling time trials. Crowds are going mad for it. Is there actually crowds here? I didn't really notice. I think there was. We'll have a look at the grandstand in a moment. Well, we are up again a 1/10 of a second in the back pocket. Onto the brakes where the DHL sign lies. Up by a 1/10. Downshift to the first gear there. Got back into the old habit. Seems to be working out alright though. Doesn't seem to be hindering me anyway. On the left-hander again. Martinez Aspar corner. Could very well improve here. Of course, whatever the delta shows now will show an improvement. Not comparing it against any other riders. We've just basically got this to ourselves. Into the right-hander. Another red sector for the man on your screens right now. The number 47 here in Jerez test. No, the stands are empty. The fans didn't turn up. Just noticed that now. I guess they wouldn't. It's testing after all. Tickets weren't really on sale. But onto the brake, sliding the rear in. That's exactly what I was looking to do. Into the final corner, onto the power. It won't be an improvement, but still another solid 1:35 lap time. Ladies and gentlemen, a solid day's testing. So there we are then, ladies and gentlemen. A 1:35.402 was our best time. And looking at that, 3 out of 4 sectors, the best times came from Spec B. Spec A, I did notice Sector 3 seemed a little bit quicker with Spec A. And that was also with Power Setting 3. 1 invalidated lap there, but the rest go from a 1:36.8 all the way down to a 1:35.4. So a 1.3 second difference in 20 laps. Pretty consistent stuff, I would say. We will take a look at Spec A. Of course, I did do the extra lap with Spec B, didn't I? Yes, I think I did. So Spec A is a little bit at a disadvantage. So let's take a look at Spec A. Very consistent. Look at all those 136s. 136 flat, 1, 2, 2, 4, 136.5. It's like a bidding game, this, isn't it? 135, 136, 1, 136, 2, 136, 3 for the man in the thing. So I'm pretty happy with that. But Spec B, I think it is the place to be. Yeah, we'll go for it. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comments section down below what you would choose. But that is it from me. Thank you very much for watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And I'll chat to you in the comments, or alternatively, I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Ciao for now. Oh, hi. Didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite sate your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.